And now, Sharon, this is the film that I wasn't sure would come to the island, but I did think that would be right up your street, and that is the Ballad of
Yeah.
Wallis Island.
Yeah, not seeing a whisker of it here.
Yeah,
Nope.
uh, uh, yeah,
It's
I,
not coming, Sam.
yeah,
It's
I didn't
straight
think
to
it.
tornado.
I was yeah I was worried it won't because I saw this and it's already out of the cinemas, and this is I was going to talk about films being released in cinemas. I saw this and I it had one showing at 5:20, and that doesn't really work with picking up kids from school and everything like that. And I thought I'm going to miss this film, but because this film isn't being made by Netflix or an Amazon or an Apple, I don't know when it's going to show up on a streaming platform. So I that day my wife sent me a message saying I'm going to pick up the girls, and I was like, I've got like 10 minutes. I'm going. And I just legged it to the cinema, got there late, said, I don't care. Give me a ticket. I want to watch this film. And I was thinking that that is something that, I think is being missed. Like, if Apple TV say we're going to make Killers of the Flower Moon, but don't worry, it'll be in cinemas for a month, but then it'll be on Apple TV Plus. I would be like, okay, yeah, no big deal. I'll catch it when it catches on Apple TV Plus. So when Netflix does that with one of the films or anything like that, with this is the film that's being released in cinemas that I do not know when it's going to show up on a thing. I'm busting my neck to get to the cinema to watch it because I don't know when next I'm going to get a chance to watch this film. And I just think that there is a little bit of a lesson in there for film studios when they're releasing films. But anyway, back onto the Ballad of Wallis Island. So this film kicks off, and you meet a guy called Herb Maguire, and Herb Maguire is one half of a folk duo who were around like they've broken up about for about 10 years now. And he receives an offer to come to an island off the coast of Wales called Wallis Island to play a gig, and it's for half a million pounds. He thinks I can use that money to actually record my new album. No problem. I'll go do this private gig, even though he hates corporate stuff and everything like that in proper folky stage. He gets to the island and he meets a character called Charles, played by Team Key, who is a little bit awkward, a little bit weird, a little bit kind of like, yeah, socially kind of like, oh yeah, says the wrong thing at the wrong time, can't stop talking and everything like that. And he says, he's like, okay, so you got this gig going. And he's like, yeah, I got this gig. And he said, you told me this gig is 100 people. He's like, no, 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 I never said 100. I said less than 100. And it's like, how much less than 100? And it transpires that this gig is for this one guy. And it's for this one. And because he looks at this one guy, he's like, hang on a second. How on earth did you afford this? The reasoning as to how this guy can afford to pay him all that money to come to play a concert is quite funny. The way they do it is actually very, very funny. And but it turns out that he arrives at the island and the guy keeps trying to tell him something. He's like, no, I don't want to know, don't want to know, don't want to know. And it turns out that his the second half of the duo was also invited, but he did not know that. And they broke up in some acrimonious circumstances. They used to be in a relationship, all that kind of stuff. She's Nell, played by Carrie Mulligan. And so she shows up on the island with her husband now. And they're like, yeah, we'll do this gig and all that. And then it becomes this small thing where it's just about the characters and the characters playing off each other and all that kind of stuff. And it's one of these things a little bit like I was saying when Bob Trevino likes it. It's just really about there's a lot of pathos in there about the reason why this guy wants them to play is it becomes clear as the film goes along. I don't want to say it. I don't think it's that much of a spoiler, but I don't want to say it because if you watch this film, I think it's a good it's great the way it's revealed the reason why he wants them to play this gig. And what happens, why they broke up in the first place, what's going to go on, is there still something there, are they going to go back, was it just the music that they had, or was it something more like a spark in there, and now that they're back in the same space, is it all going to go, how's it going to work out, now she has a husband, and I really like this film. I think it's a 4 star because there are some things that happen where characters show up and then they disappear very quickly. Like they show up and then they're out of the story for swathes of time. And the way that they're out of the story makes you go, hang on a second, but if that happens there, what is that? Would you really do that? But it's still good. I think Tim Key and Tom Basden are quite good. I mean, there's not as much folk music in it as I was expecting, so that might not work as well for you, Sharon. But the songs when they show up are really good. There are a couple of bits where Carrie Mulligan and Tom Basden do play together, and it's actually quite good. There is one shot when they're having when somebody's playing a guitar and they just focus on one of the characters' faces. And it's one of the most impressive pieces of acting I've seen because with everything you hear about the film and stuff, everything they've told you about the characters, there's just so much written on this guy's face as he's watching the music being played. There's just so much in there. And I don't. This is a longer version of a film that they originally made. They made a short movie that you can find on YouTube. It's called The One and Only Herb Maguire Plays Wallis Island, and this was made about 15 years ago or something when they were younger. And I've started watching that, and I think, yeah, but I think the main thing that this has over that is the passage of time and the pathos that comes with that, because these are people who are older, who have made mistakes, and how having to live with some of the mistakes, or just having to live with that kind of stuff. And I think that's actually really, really well done. It's one of the best ones I think I've seen this year. So when it does actually come out somewhere where you can watch it, I would recommend watching The Ballad of Wallis Island.
It when I saw the little sort of the blurb for this. I thought, oh, hopefully it'll come to the island, because I wouldn't mind going to see that with Sharon, because it does look a Sharon film, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It does.
100%.
Just from the cover. Just from the cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think 100% it's a Sharon film. It's a Sharon film. It is sweet in all the right places. It is deep in all the right places. It is eccentrically British in all the right places. So, all right, cool. Now let's go on to the final thing we're going to talk about.